Guys, cut the break. There's just some things click and some things don't. क्या हो गया भाई? यहाँ पे एसएसडी कार्ड गिर रहे हैं, यहाँ पे कैमरा हीट हो रहे हैं, बहुत अपना फोन चला रहे हैं, एक्शन चल रहा है, क्रेजी चल रहा है, पॉडकास्ट अलग ही चल रहा है। हाँ ठीक है भैया भैया प्लीज आप पॉडकास्ट के बीच में अभी रिकॉर्डिंग चल रही है, अब आप आ गए बीच में तो ओके दिस इज फॉर द एडिटर। हाँ बस ठीक है इतना
एडिटर
ठीक है
Okay,
it's good seeing you.
Good to see you too.
Guys, this one's gonna be a slightly different podcast. We're no longer talking business anymore, but at the same time, we're somewhat talking business today. We're talking about the industry of music. We have with us a really special guy, someone I've been following for a very, very long time. Some incredible content he's been making in terms of music, of course, and he's about to release something that's going to go live with this podcast, and I'm really excited for it. And today we're going to talk about the story of Mohit. And Mohit, it's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, man.
Cheers, buddy. So I've broken this again. I don't know why, but I know this is supposed to be a chill podcast. But I'm weirdly structured in my head. I'm very like left brain that way.
For sure.
And so I've broken this into segments, right? And I wanted to talk about various things within this whole industry and kind of your own mindset and how you kind of got into this. And I'm one of the strong believers that you're gonna hit like solid escape velocity in the near future, and I know there are many like me because I know enough people who know of your content and of your music, and you seem to have an edge that many people don't. You seem to have a voice that transcends through just everything that music has seen so far, and it's just really about making that break. It's really about breaking into escape velocity for someone.
Absolutely.
Right. So kind of the first little segment, what I wanted to talk about was just start me off by introducing yourself, right? Just tell us a little bit about you and a little bit about your music, a little bit about who you are as a person, so we get to know you a little bit better.
Well, my name is Mohit. Mohit Sengupta, but stage name Mohit. Very creative. I like to consider myself a jack of all trades in the music industry. I say that because I'm a nerd about the technical side as an audio engineer, producer, but obviously most people know me as an artist first, and I am an artist first. But alongside that, I'm an audio engineer, I'm a producer, multi-instrumentalist, audio solutions kind of guy. I love music, sound, anything to do with my ears, I guess. So I do a lot of that kind of stuff.
And a lot of this self-taught, and you also studied music, right?
Yeah, I did study. But yes, that's how it starts is, you teach yourself, you kind of experiment. And I think it all started much before school. But I think the technical stuff definitely started with self-taught, bunking after school or bunking during, after school, bunking in school to just spend time in the music department, just kind of playing, jamming with my friends, skipping PE, all that kind of stuff. And eventually even taking over the audio for like functions at our school, because we had a band and, we used to play. And every time we played, we would sound horrible, even though we would practice for months. Yeah. So I eventually had to just go to the principal and be like, hey, let me take over. So a lot of it, even though I didn't know how to use any of the equipment, but I just knew I could do it better. So I think that's where it starts, right?
I mean, how important do you think it is to have a good school with a good music setup? Because I remember my time in school, I used to play the guitar.
Yeah.
Still do. I'm not very good at it, unfortunately, because I only know how to play songs that I've learned off YouTube. And I remember the other day I showed up at your house on your birthday, and you picked up this beautiful guitar. Oh my God, wow! And it had, what was the name of the string? Nylon strings.
Nylon strings, yeah.
Those nylon strings, and it just sounded stunning. And I remember you just like made sounds and hums and played music with it, right? And played the guitar with
I
it.
think you were asking me about if I was formally trained, and I kind of was telling you about how I can just kind of hear. I'm not formally trained, but
You're ear trained.
I'm ear trained, and that comes with practice and spending a lot of time on your instrument or
This is skipping the
listening
B, etc.
Yeah, so like being able to play.
I think my school, honestly, and this is like, I mean, Sun City World School, what the fuck that means, was my first exposure to music. That's where I learned how to play the guitar. And it wasn't great. Like, I never had a good time. No one really cared. Most people would ditch it and go to PE instead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it was the other way around.
Yeah.
And I feel like that had a big impact on my sort of music development myself.
Sure.
Because I love music, right? And I think you bring a very different world of knowledge when it comes to music, because that ear training takes practice. It takes sitting there and doing it day in, day out for a long time.
It takes obsession, man. I think with anybody that's self-taught as an artist and kind of building a career in music, it takes obsession. It takes a little bit of delusion. I tell people, I've been playing guitar for like, I think about 12 years now. And, people ask me like, how did I learn? How did I teach myself? And I tell people that it's literally like, I used to be obsessed with picking up the guitar. I'd be watching TV and picking up the guitar, be like eating food and picking up the guitar and playing it on the side, which was kind of annoying for my parents. And this might be TMI, but there were times I took it to the bathroom, I was sitting doing my business and playing the guitar. Like, I'm sitting down, my hands are busy. I mean, my hands are free, so
fair enough.
You gotta keep them busy somehow.
Yeah. So tell me about the origins of all of this, right? Let's go back to day one, right?
Yeah.
What was your first memory of music, and not performing it, but really feeling it? Like, when did that happen?
I think if I go far enough, like I'm sure if I go further, I could find something else. But if I go far enough, I used to live in Switzerland at some point in my life. My dad, he worked for Bata for the longest time. So we were in Switzerland. That's where the headquarters is. And I remember I have this specific memory of being on the Interlaken, right? No. What's Autobahn?
Oh, the Autobahn.
We were on the Autobahn. And I have this one memory of like some James.
There's not one Autobahn. There's Autobahns in general.
Yeah.
There's like the highway, the freeway.
We were on one of the highways. It was beautiful. Yeah. We were driving down super fast, and James Blunt is playing in the car.
Wow.
My dad, my parents loved James Blunt, and because they played it so much, I knew the songs really well. I knew them word for word, or at least the melodies, and I was just singing along. I was singing along and really like, I guess, doing a good job. And there was a moment where my dad like just turned down the volume, and they caught me singing to myself. And I think that's like cool. That was like a weird memory where, they encouraged me. They were like, oh, okay. Like, keep singing. And that's like a very interesting memory where I till date, I love that album. I love James Blunt. And, that's like a core memory, but I didn't realize how much it impacted me at such a young age, and unknowingly I was kind of picking it up.
What album was that?
All the Lost Souls, I think, by James Blunt. It's the one with Beautiful, and I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah.
And how? I mean, this is a segue again. I mean, away from origins, but the way I see music in India with parents and then their support. I mean. To have your parents look at you and say, hey man, go do something with it and build a career out of it. It's not normal to hear that in a country like India, you know what I mean? Like, it's way more normal in the western part of the world.
Yeah.
But if it's an English song you were singing, like, had it been you playing the tabla, vibing to a tabla inside a car against perhaps whatever wooden piece in a car, it'd probably be different. But if it was an English song, you're vibing to it, your parents are supporting you, how important is that in the whole early development of the whole thought?
I think encouragement is everything, at a young stage for any child that is interested in anything. I think at that stage, if someone tells you that this is not worth your time, you listen to them. You're kind of wired in a way where you're trial and error is everything. And as soon as someone, especially older than you, comes in and puts a stop to it, that is like the most detrimental thing that you can do to that child. So I feel like, because unknowingly my parents encouraged this obsession of mine, it has impacted me into being so obsessed. Like, you'd think that people would get bored of doing something for so long, but it's all I can remember doing, sometimes.
Do you think, like, today, in terms of successful Indian artists, right? Of course, in the traditional Bollywood side of things and Hindi music and traditional music, there are a lot of them, right? But in the more contemporary stuff, like the kind of things you're building in, or the Hanuman kinds of the world, and say the Diljits of the world, and the more contemporary Punjabi side, there's just a handful of really good artists, right? And do you think having your parents' support early on would be one of the core reasons why some of these guys would have gone out to do what they did? Or do you think they're just wired differently and they would rebel and just do it anyway?
Not necessarily. I don't like, as much as I give my parents a lot of credit for, the opportunities and the opportunities that I've had, and kind of the way I've been able to position myself, and the experiences that I've had. I think it's different for everybody, because, not everybody's role models are their parents, Sometimes it's the odd school teacher that just believed in this kid, or the odd uncle in the colony who never discouraged, and that's how I feel. Is like, although my parents have been a big motivation for me, and they've always encouraged me, there's a lot of other people that have been a part of that process, and if those people had come in the way, who knows, maybe my parents would have also turned around. So like that colony thing, like I mean that, like I feel like the colony and the house that I've lived in for so long, I used to play drums in my room, and sometimes I'd be playing drums at like 10 p.m. On a school night, and it's loud. Like half of the colony, if not the entire colony, was hearing me play the drums. They knew that it's Mohit playing drums, and nobody ever discouraged me. They never stopped me. Especially the ones upstairs,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, you normally hear stories of like people complaining to like the cops.
Absolutely, that's all I hear.
And that's big, man. That would have been instrumental in sort of getting you where you're trying to go. And I wanted to ask: was there a moment when you knew this was no longer a hobby? And do you remember that moment as a defining moment for you?
It was a very defining moment for me. I think there were so many times in my life where I just gravitated towards music unknowingly. But the moment that I realized was in 7th grade. I wanted to join this band, and I struggled to get into this band because I was a drummer first. And so I auditioned for the drum position, but some new kid just came in and he happened to be better. So he got the spot. And so I was
that kid, man.
Yeah, I swear, bro. No, love you, Sachin. I don't know if I don't even talk to him anymore.
I'm just kidding, man.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
Up with the kid, dude.
No, but fuck you for taking my position, man. Could have been the best drummer. But funny enough, I realized, I was like, well, I can kind of sing. So I guess now fuck you, because now I'm singing and shit. But I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go audition for singing for this band. I wanted to be in this band so bad. Long story short, we're at the day of the performance, and half of the people pull out. I was supposed to sing with another person, and he's pulled out last minute, so I'm alone in front of this small crowd, right? And I start singing the song "Cranberries" by Zombies by Cranberries.
One of my favorite songs to perform
classic,
myself.
Bro, classic.
An old girlfriend of mine and I performed that song as a duet, and we won a competition.
Really?
Yeah, it was like it's an easy song to play on the guitar.
Yeah.
I only play the guitar.
So it's done wonders for all of us.
Yeah. It's a good song, man.
Absolutely.
And everyone resonates with it. Everyone loves it. Like, all the way down to our parents, all the way through to this generation, people still listen to it today.
And it's a staple. It's a staple in music education, actually.
Yeah.
You know, like that song, Boulevard of Broken Dreams. These are some songs that you know that every drummer, guitarist has played at some point. You know,
I have a really close friend of mine, Aditya Parashar, and he's a good friend of yours too. You've done a lot of good stuff for him. You've helped him with a lot of the production.
He DJs for me, actually.
And he just, of course.
Yeah.
And I remember the first song he learned on the guitar came from me. I taught him Boulevard of Broken Dreams because it is the foundational ones. It's
iconic,
as you said. Right?
Yeah.
And he took off on escape velocity himself and went on to become this ridiculous bloody guitarist who now teaches people.
Yeah,
and it's amazing. And yeah, I mean, building from there. So that's why you realized it wasn't going to be.
So I was performing the song, right, and there was a moment where this one kid in the crowd, he looks up and he kind of looks around, right? So that got me curious because I was like very much like tunnel vision, like looking straight, almost shitting myself, and. So I see the kid, I look up and I look around and, there's 3 floors and there's like, everybody is like, like there's a ton of people watching now. I look up and I'm like, it's a balcony of people just, watching me perform. And I was just like, that's when like my heart sank. And I was just like, I was in 7th grade. So whatever.
12 years old, man.
Probably a little more than that.
12 years old. Exactly.
Yeah, 12 actually.
If you did schooling the right
normal way,
unless you failed and shit, तो फिर अलग बात है.
नहीं,
I don't think you're too smart with that.
Thank you, bhai. Actually, ironically, that's the thing. Like, I was struggling in school because I traveled so much as a kid. Like, I had a very inconsistent, like, kind of education because of how much we moved.
Yeah.
And I had finally moved back to India and like, I was struggling and, the school system in India is like, it's rigorous. I was in pathways and we were, they were pushing us and I was genuinely failing classes and, every PTM I would be scared to come because all they would say is like, he has so much potential, but he's just not working hard enough. But so either way, I'm at this performance and I feel like I'm about to fail again, and as soon as the song finishes, it's applause. Everyone's clapping.
Standing ovation.
Yeah, standing ovation. And it was for the first time in my life. Yeah, exactly. It was the first time. It was the first time in my life that I felt like I was good at something. So that's why I tell people that I don't think I picked music. Like I feel like music picked me.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And I think, of course, that was your first time on stage, right? That was your first time performing?
No, it wasn't my first time performing, but it was the first time I felt like I was good at something.
Got it.
And so...
But amongst your first times, maybe amongst your first few times...
Sure, yeah. First time singing solo, for sure.
Yeah.
And, like, I think after that I got obsessed with music and even more, and, I continued practicing, and eventually, I think around the same year, I had that conversation with my mom being like, I think I want to do this for the rest of my life. And she's like, what? No, you're not.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was like, what do you mean no? And I was so confused because I was like, I finally figured it out. And I didn't think no was an answer that I was going to get because I didn't understand the depth of what pursuing music meant for an adult. But
of course, you're naive at that age.
Exactly.
Man. What do you know? But your parents at that point must have been wondering, there's a
Here we go again.
one in a million chance you'll fucking knock the ball out of the park, and they would have been scared, I'm assuming.
I mean, right? Especially being, in our society, like, Indian parents will want security over uncertainty any day.
But I believe they supported you regardless.
Yeah. I mean, they never discouraged me. But they definitely like made it clear that day that no, you're not. But but that's where the journey starts. After that is like the years of proving
that's where you
yourself.
Prove them wrong.
Yeah, you prove.
So I mean, you obviously went on stage as a kid. You realized music's something you really want to do. And more recently, you've been on stage quite often, mate. And you've been kicking some ass. And
and now
performing. And people, you have a fan following now.
Thank you, bro.
You have a little cult that's saying, "What's up, Mohit? He's fucking on stage, man."
Yeah, I love that.
Let's watch this guy. And tell me the journey of bedroom to stage. Like what did you really do in the background? Like, what was it like practicing in the bedroom, in the bathroom, whatever the fuck you were performing? when it was just you that was preparing till stage. Talk me through that journey.
I unknowingly developed a lot of skills that help me on a daily basis today. And that just came with the obsession and the kind of becoming a nerd about the shit that I do. I very early I picked up on, like, I bought a mic in high school. I didn't know what I wanted to do with it, but I knew I wanted to record some guitar, I wanted to record some stuff like that, and those skills come in handy till date. I'm an audio engineer now also, and a lot of it is just kind of being obsessed with what you do. So whether it be sitting there and practicing the same lick over and over again until you get it clean, playing it slow, playing it fast, playing it slow, playing it in different contexts, playing that lick in a different song, playing that under a different instrumental, or whether it be like singing a line 14 different ways because you're trying to find the right fit for the song.
How long would you give this in a day? Like, while you're practicing this, like, how many hours a day would you do?
I think you don't look at the clock when you're trying to make this shit your life. You stop looking at the clock.
Wow.
I think the clock should back up after college or at the end of college, especially because I studied in the US. And when you have like a immigrant status stamped on your back, the clock is very evident, because it's like, oh, you're here to do something. Your parents expect you to stay in the US. They expect you to, build a career there and never come back. Everybody expects you to do that. And it's almost like your choice is gone there. You had all this choice for where you wanted to study. You had all this choice of what you wanted to study and where you wanted to stay, how you wanted to live. And obviously, apart from circumstance, but when that clock is on you, all you can think of is like, how do I make this work? Especially if you care about the kind of investment your parents have put into you and all that. When there's something at stake.
And they said, yeah, fuck it, go study music in the US. I mean,
yeah, it was.
How hard is that conversation?
It was a little more complicated than just go study, but they knew that I wanted to study in the US. They wanted me to study in the US.
But music specifically?
No, they didn't know what I wanted to study because I was such a bad student throughout school. Like IB, I hate to say this, I barely passed, bro. Did you do IB?
I did the A levels.
Okay, so IB, the way it works is out of 45 points. And
but
yeah,
I had the choice of IB or A levels, so I had to choose between the two. I chose A levels because I wanted to go to the UK, but that's the point. But I'm aware about how IB works.
Yeah, so
high levels, high level subjects.
Do you know what the passing grade is for IB?
It's the points to 7. It's each of your grades.
So cumulative. Do you know what the passing grade is?
I think like 32 or
no. Damn, I would have failed though. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Passing in IB is 24.
Okay.
Guess what I got?
What?
24.
Oh shit!
That's what I'm saying. I told my parents, I was like, I'm gonna get that diploma. I got just that diploma.
Doesn't fucking matter, man. You nailed it. That's all that matters.
So I struggled in high school with my studies, but I knew I wanted to do music, and obviously I urged my I want to study music.
It's that same old elephant climbing a tree situation, man.
Yeah, you put them in the right context and they thrive, and that's exactly what happened. I think the middle ground was audio because I think, and I'm glad they kind of diverted me from studying music because what do you do with a music degree? Sometimes it's a tricky position to be in. Audio is a little more technical, and so the middle ground was audio. I considered other things like cinematography also because I've always been like obsessed with the arts, YouTube, and all of this stuff. So, but I think audio was the middle ground, and that's where we were like, yeah, cool. This is like a STEM major, stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
I mean, so that's where it all really got started, and that's how you.
Yeah.
I mean, so once you did that, then to stage, which is now. Today, Mohit performing Samara's Cafe, performing social, performing in different places around the city, and building a cult following. How does that feel? How does it feel to have people like even me, for example? I make my friends listen to you. I make a lot of them
Thank you.
around the world, I have some good friends in the music industry, and I tell them about you because they need to know about the kind of quality of music that can come out of this country. And I think you're like epitomizing the potential that this country has. And it's just really about making a break,
escape velocity, being at the verge of escape velocity. And that's the thing, like, obviously it feels amazing to proudly say that I work full time in the music industry. Like, I have never worked a desk job. Very privileged to say that, but I've worked my ass off. Sorry?
Can't say the same.
No, it's okay, bro. Like, I think everyone's journey is different, and in the music industry, there's a million people that didn't have the choice. And that's the thing. I say my biggest privilege is the fact that I have had the opportunity to travel, and that I did not have student loans, and I've studied in the US. My dad's entire life savings went into my education, and I'm forever like grateful for that. And what they did was they put me in a position to be able to thrive. Of course, the rest of it is genuinely my hard work and the grind that I had to go through. And, I had a lot of people in school that studied the same thing as me, Americans, who did not end up working in the music industry. They still work coffee shops and stuff like that, and are trying to figure it out. But me, right out of college, I'm working at some of the top studios in Chicago. Would like to say I was one of the top hip hop engineers in Chicago at some point. At the age of 21.
I don't know that, man. That's kick-ass.
No, that's cool, man. And it took a lot because, I genuinely feel I'm an introvert at heart. I'm actually very like personal and very like, I'm a very emotional person. And so I tend to be very protective of those things. But the music industry has taught me how to have this facade of being this extrovert. Most people think I'm an extrovert because I have all these people around me, and I go to an event and like a lot of people recognize me for different things. And but really, like, that's just skills that I've developed over time that have only come through these opportunities that I've gotten.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think going back to struggling to pass school and then finding your way into music school from there. Very often we look at intelligence as our ability to get good grades. But I think intelligence, the way I've seen it through my life, is it can be, like, for example, if you tell me to study by reading something, I'll just be like, fuck off, not happening, right? I'd rather watch something or listen to something, right? And that's what it's all about. It's about different types of intelligence. And I think what many people fail to see when they're dealing with, and I'm talking about the older generation dealing with their kids who want to get into music. For the origin story, I feel like they think that, he wants to be a musician, like he's not smart. Then like, fuck is that about? This is an audio intelligence. Like, it's a type of intelligence, and you have that type of intelligence. That's
practical intelligence. I feel like
there's practical intelligence. There is linguistic intelligence. There is visual intelligence. There are so many different ways in which you can comprehend intelligence. And I feel like today, when the younger gens out there thinking about being a musician, they're so worried about being judged by their closest people that
absolutely,
am I like looking like a weird outlier who just couldn't cut it in the real world, and hence I'm entering this. This is real stories from real friends I have, man, who are also in this space and haven't hit somewhat the level that you've got to. What I mean?
Just to add to that, I'm also a music educator.
Yeah.
So I do part-time teach music production. I have my own course that I teach, and I have students of varying ages. And something that I've noticed in kids is that some kids just have a knack for it. And I feel like I was one of those kids that just had a thing for music. We just didn't know. Nobody knew how to like supplement it. But a lot of these kids, they're like, I want to make my own music. When these parents listen to their kids and supplement that, it's crazy the kind of progress they make. I've seen kids that didn't know how to use their Mac comfortably to then being like kind of a wizard at the software that I'm teaching, Logic Pro X, in the matter of 3 months. They're suddenly, they go from like, I'm not comfortable singing or coming up with a lyric around you, to being like, oh, how about we write this like this? Because it could mean like this. Like just supplementing the right way at the right time is like literally like the speed at which they grow or develop those skills is incredible at a young age.
And as you found your footing and you're finally on stage now, today, what would you say is your biggest skill set amongst the few things you do? You're also an instrumentalist, you're also an audio engineer, you're also a beautiful singer. Wow. And
thank you.
In a lot of the snippets you guys are going to be watching, and probably in the snippet that's going to have this playing in it, you can hear a little backtrack of a new song that Mohit's going to launch. And I'm very excited about that as well, because the song I heard almost a year ago, and it's been unreleased since, right? And
yeah.
And I was told not to tell you that I knew about this song, because it was Parasha showed it to me. Showed it to me, and he's like, "Don't tell Mohit, because Mohit will kill me." And I was like, "Dude, I mean, it's beautiful. I would love for him to know that I know about this, but it's going."
And I'm really glad that he did share it with you, and I respect him for keeping it at the back of his head. But I think the skill set that I feel like I'm really, like I said, I'm a jack of all trades. So, but I wouldn't say I'm the master of none. Like, I'm so obsessed with the things that I do within music that I try to do them to the most. And it's the combination of those that make me the unique person that I am. So I think technical knowledge about audio, thanks to my education, and, just practical knowledge of, knowing how to use equipment and setting up things. So unfortunately, I don't have the resources to be able to execute a lot of these ideas yet. But I think as I grow, you guys are going to be able to see how my live performances are going to be more than just, me with a mic and a DJ behind me, but to maybe having a band, and along with that, other really cool, interactive kind of pieces, kind of inspired by people like FKJ and, these people who kind of have a bunch of instruments on stage, but they're also the only one on stage sometimes.
Yeah.
So like, I think that aspect of, like, I feel like I'm really good with vision. I'm really good with, as in my bedroom, I would say I'm a songwriter. Like, I'm not the best lyricist. I'm not the best singer, but I really understand songwriting, and I understand, emotions with music. Sure. And I think that's something that I really like to, like, confidently kind of say that, yeah, like, I can write music, I can make music. And, a lot of people that are technically great tend to be tend to be worse at songwriting than people that have no formal training in music. A lot of the people that have no formal training in music make better music than, and this might be a controversial opinion, but they make better music than technically or formally trained artists.
Do you think it's because you're maybe too critical of yourself, and so it means even though you've made a beautiful piece of work, in this case, I think you just don't want to release it till it's perfect. That happens sometimes?
Well, I think that stays regardless. Like, that's something I struggle with also. Like, Pyaar, it's been in that state for like 2+ years, bro.
So we've released the name now. So the song's called Pyaar.
It's called Pyaar. The song's called Pyaar. Yeah. It should be out by now, hopefully. It will be. But yeah, like what I was gonna say is that, like, the critical stuff and like delaying, releasing something is definitely something that's unified amongst all professional musicians that are putting out music. But more than that, I feel the reason why these technical artists are not being able to write great music sometimes is because, or music that is hitting a nerve with people, is because of their teachers. And why I say this is they've become incredible musicians. They've become incredible instrumentalists, but they have not developed the skills to be an artist. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, playing the guitar is a skill, but writing music with it is art, and so when you're kind of trained in a way where you're like, oh, saregama padanisa, what about the notes between saregama, sa and re? There's a million, because if you think about it in terms of a technical way, these are frequencies in sound.
Help me understand that. Can you tell me the
Sure.
difference between sa?
Sure. So
What is what?
if we look at the letter A, right, the note A on a piano, according to equal temperament or like the way music or instruments are tuned, it's always like, like whenever I play A on a piano, it's the same A that I play on a guitar, right? And when we tune the guitar, we're trying to tune it to the certain A, right? That A is 440 hertz. And so we base our tuning scales based on 440, A being 440 hertz.
The frequency.
Yeah, but 441 hertz is also A.
Yeah.
442 is also A, but it's a little higher than A, like a pitch higher than A. So when someone's pitchy, it's because they're hitting those frequencies that are right above or below the scale that we set for ourselves, or like the tuning that we set for ourselves. So when you go into when you go to countries like if you go to cultures in the Middle East, they play microtonal music, which is essentially they're hitting a lot of notes that are not in the Western scale, that you can never play on a guitar unless you add a fret in the middle of the two frets so that you can hit that. So if you've seen a microtonal guitar, I suggest you search one up.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, so you see how they have like extra frets in certain places?
Correct.
It's to be able to hit those notes.
Wow. All right, guys. So we had a bit of a classic first-time podcast situation. We had a camera overheat because we're working without air conditioning here. Should have booked a studio, but it was too much on an impulse by me to have even thought about that, and I had no experience. But we're sunsetting. We're going to go into a bit darkness in a little bit, but I think that's the vibe of this entire scene.
Absolutely.
And as the sun sets, we're going to hear a little bit more about Pyaar, because it's gonna become more and more apparent to people in the volume.
It's getting more intimate.
Yeah. But Mohit, we were talking about how I think the intricacy to which you understand music, right? I mean, not just about notes or licks or whatever, the practice that you've done, you understand it at a very deep level. And I see the impact Chicago's had on you, and the fact that you've gone and become this one of the top sort of producers, and you were helping lots of musicians in Chicago sort of manage their music. And we can sense that, we can see the intricate detail from it. Tell me, while you were growing up, and this is coming to the end of our first segment around origins, when you were growing up, who was your biggest sonic influence? Or if there were multiple such people, who were they? And who were they growing up? And who are they now?
I think the kind of influences that you have, they stay with you, right? I'd say growing up, for me and my friends were obsessed with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And we used to listen to them endlessly, the band that we had in school.
My favorite band in the world.
Yeah, really? Have you seen them live?
I have seen them live.
I'm jealous,
at the O2 Arena.
Oh, what a show, too. That's crazy. What a great place to watch the Chili Peppers.
And if you come to my house, you'll see a giant poster of Red Hot Chili Peppers on my wall.
Really?
Yeah, and it's signed as well.
Okay. What? It's signed? Okay. You need to chill, bro.
Yeah,
you're getting me really jealous now. That's one of my regrets, is I never got to see them live. But the Chili Peppers were one of my biggest influences, especially because of, my friends and I, like, obsessively kind of listening to them. We listened to a lot of rock music growing up. Me personally, I also really love Coldplay. My dad put me onto Coldplay from a very young age, and I grew fond of them and kind of had my own journey with them on my own time, and even like introduced a lot of songs that my dad hadn't heard to him. So Coldplay is another one that I just think they're incredible songwriters, and especially their first album, Parachutes, is incredible. With the Chili Peppers, yeah, bro, I love that album. With the Chili Peppers, the guitarist John Frusciante, he was a big guitar influence of mine. He just, his story also, with battling depression and drug addiction, and kind of coming back, and like he's left the band twice and come back. Especially the second time, I did not see it coming. So one of my goals is to actually see them live, man. That would have been, and if I had the chance to be in the studio with anyone, I'd probably choose to be with Prashante because of just, bias, childhood bias. And like,
I think not that this podcast is about me, but if I were to think of my sort of sonic influences from a music perspective growing up, I would definitely say there were two of them. One was Pink Floyd, and not Sid Barrett, it's David Gilmour.
Absolutely.
Because of his acoustical capabilities and his singing capabilities. I think he's still around. He's still doing some fun stuff. And another one that's a little different, you guys would have heard a lot of that in the BTSs that I've put out, is Nicholas Jah. Nicholas Jah, Spaces Only Noise, that you can see, the album.
Wow.
It's called Spaces Only Noise. It's just, it's goosebumps when what kind of music that these two particular different artists have put out, and one band of artists, of course. But sorry, continue, please.
No, we could talk about the Chili Peppers all day, man.
Yeah, for sure.
But but I definitely like the Chili Peppers and Coldplay, and I can go on name a few other artists, but I think those two are the ones that kind of stick out for me. You can still hear parts
and
of
who do
them.
you think that's become today? Like, if you were to think of newer age artists, where does that influence shifted to today?
Frank Ocean. I think he's an incredible artist, and the way he writes is beautiful, the way he sings is beautiful, and the way he songwrites, the kind of compositions that he's making as a whole, the experience of listening to a Frank Ocean song is I want to say unmatched, So yeah, and like you see the kind of demand he has. Like 7 years he hasn't dropped an album or a song, and people are like, where is
And
he?
they just keep listening to shit out.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, actually I'm biased, bro. I think Channel Orange is the better album in my opinion. Like that, I'm biased to that album, but yes, Blonde is I would say.
I think that comes with, like, again, there's popularity and then there is like real music taste.
Yeah,
I'm not a big Frank Ocean fan personally.
Fair enough.
Not that I think he's a bad artist, but I haven't enjoyed so much of his music. But I think he definitely, when you say he's a great singer and you say he's a great producer, I can see that, because there's one or two songs that I can think of when I think of Frank Ocean, and those are the only ones I really like, but not most of the rest.
Fair enough.
But
he is an interesting listen, because although he fits a lot of the idea of what pop music can be and is, and R&B music and hip hop and stuff, but he at the same time is so experimental with his style, and you hear that when you listen to his albums, like top to bottom. You hear his range as an artist, and that's an inspiration for sure.
Wonderful. So we were talking about your influences, and I think it's clear. So Frank Ocean's one of them.
In terms of modern, for sure.
Do you have any other influences today?
In the modern times?
Maybe someone from India that you really like?
From our generation?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many people that have influenced me in different ways.
Is there anyone you look up to?
Look up to, like, for different things, for sure. But in terms of music, I mean, all of them are so incredible in their own ways. Picking one would just not be right. But I'll give you a small brief about, like, at least the ones that I want to kind of mention. We were talking about DRV earlier. And DRV is, he is someone who actually was the first person that made me feel like I could do this in Hindi also. When I switched from English to Hindi, because he was doing it in a way that didn't feel corny to me. Like, it felt very natural, and he was doing like a Western, like, hip hop kind of auto-tune style in Hindi that I had never heard before. So I would say that, he is someone who inspired me to start really doing it in Hindi.
I recently saw someone tattooed DRV to their arm.
Yeah, man.
I mean, he's built quite a fan following.
He deserves his flowers, because, like, a lot of artists that are like auto-tune, trap, hip hop kind of artists in in Delhi NCR especially, they were all inspired by DRV at some point.
Yeah.
They heard that first album, Dhruv Rajpal, and
so someone I really love, and he's been part of your songs, is Karan.
Yeah, and for him specifically, I want to say his versatility as an artist, and his he is one of the most hardworking people I know. He is one of those people. Something that inspires me about him is as soon as he finishes a task, he's on to the next one. Even right at the end of finishing a task, he's already thinking about the next one and how he's going to leave from here, get up and go do that. I, on the other hand, am someone who likes to take my time with things. And so I'll spend an extra 5 minutes, 10 minutes somewhere, just sitting there, chilling, talking to someone. But Karan's very much in and out.
No, I've noticed that Nidhi and I, Nidhi's my fiance again.
Yeah.
We listen to Saath Nahi, which is your song. We listen to it at least once a week.
Wow,
minimum.
That's crazy.
Minimum. Because it's on the top 10 songs on my playlist. And a big shout out to the little piece Karan's done with it, because while the entire song is beautiful, I have a deep voice, right?
Yeah.
And people do compliment me for that very often. And I do like to sing the likes of Elvis and so on. But I noticed the way he can control a deep voiced rap, the way he does it. And it's insane, man.
No, his range is incredible. And with his new album that's actually on the way, Chehre, you actually hear him not only do his deep voice stuff, but also he goes way beyond his range as a singer, and it's kind of I didn't know Karan could sing that high. And even in Saath Nahi, there's a moment where he switches from the rap to Parvaton mein. That's his voice, Exactly. He goes from that deep voice to that singing voice,
which is insane.
Bro.
I was you were just
yeah, exactly.
And then suddenly this melody that I was wow.
Although you said that the little piece that he played in the song, I think it's huge because I want to say that he's the reason that song blew up. Initially when it did do well, because he posted a snippet of his part, "Dhuna na mile koi tere jaisa pure Delhi ilake mein." And that's the part that blew up on Reels at the time in 2021, because I think there were multiple factors that played into it. Firstly, nobody had heard anyone rap like that in Hindi in that kind of voice. His voice is very is an ear candy in that moment. And also at the time, Corpse, there's this YouTuber guy who was playing Among Us called Corpse, who was blowing up at the time, and he was known for his deep voice. So a lot of people were commenting Indian Corpse. And so I think as much as that's a song, it's it's both of our songs equally. That's a song that I would say is we built it from scratch, and it's a fun one, man.
Isn't it amazing to work with some of the people you're also influenced by? I think another name that comes to my mind, and I will always look up to this guy's musical capability is Ravi. Creon. I've seen him hold a crowd absolutely beautifully. With someone like Ravi, I was talking about how I remember going for his first gig. And incidentally, the day I met my now fiance,
was that gig?
Was at my first Ravi gig.
Oh, wow.
And the day I got engaged to my fiance was Ravi's birthday.
Oh yeah, I was there. I remember you telling me.
Yeah, and we seem to have that weird connection, but that's besides the point. Regardless of that connection, Creon as an artist is some of the stuff he's done is absolutely.
He's got a very unique sound, for a producer, and he has this whole persona with flowers and these colors and stuff, and it fits. It just fits. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
The song that he has with DRV, I really like Mehel. If you've heard that song, it's a very
of course,
very fun, bouncy song, and
of course,
I like his style a lot. And the kind of work he's doing in the event space right now with Backdoor Parade, it's super fun. He's working really hard, and he's thrown some incredible, successful shows. And as we say that his 3rd anniversary show was coming up. And we've gone to the first and second, and the third one's coming up, and it's great seeing him do his thing, man. He's actually one of the first people to believe in me as a Hindi artist. My song Level Up was signed to All Star Sauce, which is a company, a label that was created by Kunal, KSC, I think, and I'm blanking on names. So cut this out.
That doesn't matter, but I remember All Star Sauce.
KSC, but Crayon and Yukato used to work with them.
Yukato is another name.
And
Patty is another name. There are so many of these guys out there.
And Crayon was actually the one who believed in that record. And he was like, yeah, we should sign this. And he fought for that record and was like, let's do this song, because they had not done any Hindi rap on that label yet. And it was the first song. It is a song called Level Up, and it was one of my first Hindi rap songs that I put out. And it was my first song that got playlisted on Spotify. And it was the song Karun found me on.
Wow.
Yeah. So
it's an influence in its own way.
Yeah.
So, breaking into the next segment that I wanted to talk about, it's really about breaking the noise in this industry, right? And I know there are lots of little bits of background sound around us, and I do apologize to a lot of the listeners that I didn't prepare this a lot better. But I believe we have Mohit sitting right here who's going to edit the fuck out of this as much as he can.
Audio solutions, what did I say?
Yeah, right there, man. He's the technical guy that'll figure it out.
If I did my job right, you don't even know what he's talking about.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see how that plays out. But I wanted to break the noise, and of course there is a shout out to so many more artists out of India that I feel like I haven't given, and I do apologize if I haven't named you just yet. But I think you are so well entrenched in the space. There's so many names out there,
absolutely,
that can be that have the potential to be huge.
So many names that we don't know.
That we don't know either. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know guys like Chord as well. He was in True School of Music with me.
Really?
At some point, yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
There's an artist called Marzi.
Darzi, you mean?
Marzi. MXR.
Mercy. MXRCY. CI.
I'm spelling it wrong, but Marzi again, a good friend of mine from back in True School of Music. There's Zoe from that new girl band that's been created. I forget the name again. Wish, yes. Yeah, Zoe was in school with me when I was a tiny kid.
Crazy.
Man. And Wish, they're insane. Marzi and Wish have done a song together as well.
Cool.
And there are some insane artists out there today. So just segueing from there into the perfect segment, which I'm about to go into for this, is be honest, right? We're breaking the noise now.
Sure.
How hard is it to get heard today?
It's extremely difficult, but at the same time, it's easier than ever. It's easier than ever because of social media, because of the internet, and all the resources and the tools that we have now. And nowadays, it's so affordable to be able to buy an audio interface, a mic, and a laptop, and kind of record yourself at home. Because producers are putting beats on YouTube on a daily basis, so there's an endless amount of instrumentals for you to go hop on and do something. And all you need is a little bit of knowledge about, or watch a few YouTube videos about how to record yourself, and there you are, you're an artist, you're a recording artist. We didn't have those resources back in the day. It meant saving up money, going to a recording studio and hoping that you get it right, and then hoping that someone's going to listen to your record. Now it's trial and error is unlimited. You can try as many times, fail as many times. So yes, it's easier than ever to be able to create the music, but to be heard is tough. As a musician, you're forced to kind of play the social media game of making content, putting out content, planning content. And we look at content as just content, but now that you're doing podcasts, that the little nitty-gritty stuff that goes into just putting out one episode is like, damn, I got to schedule time with this guy. I got to make sure these lights are here. I got to make sure the setups are here. We have a space, bro's recording behind the camera. The sound needs to be right. And then it goes to the editor. The editor is going to fix it. Mohit's going to fix the sound. And then it's like, okay, we got the video ready. How do we put it out on social media? How do we make sure people are listening to it? How do we make sure that people are finding it and are interested? It's layers to this shit. So is that fair to the artist? No, not at all. So yes and no. I'm sorry I can't give you a black and white answer, but it's...
So there's actually... So speaking of Marzi, the name of the artist is Vrindam, right? I mean, his real name is Vrindam. And I think he used a weird approach that I found very interesting. I mean, it was a different way of trying to get heard, which was that he kind of like... He has talent, of course, and he's really good at what he does. But he also kind of piggybacked off Wish and their following and started creating songs with them and then going and performing across the country with them, which I found very intelligent from a thinking perspective. And where does innovation in that distribution channel mindset come in? Like, I don't know, we think about the song Maharani, right? Arpit Bala and Karan again.
Yeah.
I mean, it became a viral sensation in this country, right? I mean, we were basically back to there was a lot of heat again in the camera. So we're going to have to shoot these in smaller segments and we'll have to keep taking breaks. I promise you guys the next time we do this, it'll be in a proper studio and I'll redo another round of Mohit for his next release because we're going to be talking about a song of his today as well. But we were in that segment of Breaking the Noise and I was talking about Marzi Vrindam and how he's kind of working with Wish. And he's building music on Amazon for like films and stuff. And he's creating content and he's using the content creator method. And he's kind of piggybacking off an existing brand in Wish to kind of build a huge following for him as well. And I find that very intelligent on his part. What do you think about that as a methodology of kind of going about creating some visibility?
Yeah, I mean, I think piggybacking off of something that works is, if anything, very strategic. I wouldn't say... I think some people would look down on it on one side, and like it's very easy to take credit away from people and being like, oh, like you're only this person because of that person. Like, but I feel like everybody's someone because of somebody. And
there for a reason. Like he's there in the songs for a reason.
And you got to give credit where credit is due. Like he's still doing the work. He's still putting in the work and making the content. And like you said, like it's working for him. So is that because of the Wish Girls or is it because of him? You know what I'm saying? Because he's still doing the work, right? So I think credit where credit's due. Like even for me, I would say, in 2021 when I was kind of came out into the Indian industry as like a, fresh new artist, that a lot of people didn't know of, and people started discovering me because of Saath Nahi with Karan and so on. Like that year I only put out songs, I only put out collaborations. It was after Level Up, which was a solo song. It was Saath Nahi with Karan. Then I put out Ek Saath with Yash Raj. Then I put out Marzi with Karan Kanchan, and then I put out...
Actually, you have a song called Marzi's.
Yeah.
I remember that now.
Exactly. And then I put out a song called Zaya with DRV before ending the year with a solo song. And the thing is that, like, a lot of people can look at that and be like, oh, he piggybacked off of these artists and you're using artists to, other people's audiences to grow. But like every one of those collaborations were organic. They all wanted to work with me. I wanted to work with them.
You're there for a reason.
And, those people weren't those people, the people they are today, like those names, the fact that, people recognize those names today, they were not that recognizable back then,
Absolutely.
And so it was just about making, an organic connection with the people, making fucking dope music, and just putting it out there and letting it mature. And all of these artists had the same trajectory, is they all went up, because we all believed in the same shit and we all were hardworking and we put in our own work. Karan Kanchan also has gone, a lot of people can be like, oh, wo Divine ke wajah se wo Karan Kanchan hai. But like, that's not completely true. Like Karan Kanchan's been around for years and, in the electronic scene and then in the hip hop scene, and he's doing crazy things now as an independent producer artist, like one of the few people that are setting the blueprint for being known as a producer, who, just as a producer and not like a singer or something, you know what I mean? Or a rapper.
I want to talk about a name that I think everyone in India is very proud of today, and that's Hanuman Kind, right? And we're very proud that he's come out of this country and he's been building some beautiful stuff. And I remember my first interaction with him.
Yeah.
And I was telling you about it earlier as well. I walked into an antisocial on a sober evening. I remember we didn't even drink. We were having no fun. We were just chilling. And this was 2021 or 2022, and he's performing with this energy that seemed like he was on 25,000 different types of drugs. And they were all like, it was like one of those things, where you have like acid. Like, who's that artist who used to cut his forehead and put acid inside it and cover his?
No clue.
Jimi Hendrix.
Okay.
And it seemed like that kind of energy, and I could see this cult following. I could see like these like 50 people that were like jamming with his shit, but the energy was different level, right?
Yeah.
I remember like I walked out of Antisocial when that gig ended, and it was a quiet day, very, very quiet. Like, sorry, it wasn't a quiet day. That I've completely thrown off topic, but it was. Everyone had left. His entire cult following had left, and he was just sitting on the floor with a cigarette in his hand, and he looked drained. And I was like, dude, where do you get this energy from to begin with? I remember this conversation with him. We talked about how we're Arsenal fans. And I'm not sure if he entirely remembers this because this was like a long time ago. And I think from there to that break with Big Dogs, right? Getting heard was just slowly building a cult following. And there are various ways, I'm assuming, to get there, right? It's you build a cult following and then it's word of mouth. It's just like building a business, right? Similar to building a regular consumer business where people are now consuming your content and enjoying it. I'm a consumer of your content, a hardcore consumer of your content.
Thank you.
And I feel like there are probably a dozen into a dozen like me that would be consumers of your content today, and then it slowly grows, and then you're acquiring more of these people, and it's really like building a business, in my opinion. But Hanuman Kind was really a pure example of someone who
consistency,
and that energy. He made his moat, like the way we look at in a business, you turn something into your moat. Like, I think your moat, personally, from my opinion, is your voice mixed with your instrumental capabilities. I don't know so much about audio engineering, but as a consumer, as someone who's listening to you from the side, I think your ability to mess around with the guitar and make something beautiful in seconds and combine that with this amazing voice that you can link so beautifully to what you're making on the guitar, I think that becomes your moat. And then just building on that moat to continue acquiring and building that cult and making it bigger and bigger and bigger till that one break comes and you've hit escape velocity. And I think that's my view on the way I think, you can be heard today. But it's coming from a person who knows nothing about the music industry, and I was just giving my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think what Hanuman Kind has done is incredible. People that have been in the scene and that have followed Indian hip hop for a few years at least have seen Hanuman Kind around. He is one of the most significant Indian rappers that are rapping in English. And I don't want to just say an Indian rapper, but he's definitely like, he's been killing it for years. Like you said, he's been building this cult following. And I also had the pleasure of seeing him live in Bangalore at this celebrating hip hop kind of 50-year anniversary, something like that. And the way he controlled the crowd, the way he kept the energy, and the same way I found him drained right after the show is consistent. And that's what he's done. He's given his all into when he gives it all when he's on stage. He gives it all when he's recording, and I think that consistency eventually pays off. And obviously now there's different factors that play into success, but and people can break down why and how and all of that. But I think we were talking about earlier before the podcast. We were talking about how it's very easy to be like, oh, he blew up because of this or he blew up because of that. And people, again, like struggle to give people their flowers. Like before he blew up, people were like, oh, he's never going to blow up because he makes music in English in India, And then as soon as he blows up, they're like, of course he blew up because he makes music in English.
Yeah.
So
you're finding a reason to believe
that's what I'm saying.
But what I see, and the way I was looking at Hanuman Khan's, everything I've seen of him, right? When you talk about consistency, which is perfect in the sense that everything about him that's available online in the form of his YouTube content, in the form of him present at concerts, in the form of him even back in the time 2021, 2022, when he was, not even 2021, 2022, this is 2023 as a matter of fact, right after COVID, of course. And I remember it's just everything is consistent with the energy. So he's made energy and energetic music his moat, right?
Yeah,
and
sure.
I think that became something that's become his whole deal. I would be very surprised to see Hanuman Khan make a slow song.
Slow song.
Do you know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
And I think that in itself has built the brand that he's built today. And I think, again, a brand like yours with the kind of cult following you've already built, the fans that are today talking to you and are messaging you, it's really important to think that moat of yours, that is your instrumental capability in your singing, is there some way we can spin that off into something very special and make that who you really are? I mean, it's just a thought again. It's like,
yeah, I mean, I'm sure there is, and I'm sure 100 people have 100 different ideas of how to make that happen, and we don't know if any of them would succeed, and we don't know if all of them would fail.
Yeah.
But I think only time tells with stuff like that. I think Hanuman Khan knew that Big Dogs was a special song, but I don't think anybody knew how big that song was going to be.
Do you think every artist thinks their next song is going to be a special song? And then
I would say yes and no, because there, sometimes you put out songs that maybe wasn't as good as one of your other songs, but you still love it equally. So you put it out because it's a different angle of you as an artist. So that's the only way for you to show your versatility. If you keep trying to give people what they think is the best version of you, then you're kind of eating away from your own individuality as an artist. You need to feed people you as an artist, what you create. So just because my fans are not used to hearing me in Bengali doesn't mean I'm not going to put out a song in Bengali.
I think you added a little section with your dad at the end of Milenge, right?
Yeah, in Milenge.
Which has a little Bengali element in it as well.
Yeah, and actually the song that I just put out with Karan, Asate, that has my first Bengali verse ever.
Oh, wow.
So that was my first introduction as a
amazing.
Bengali singer, and, my parents actually didn't see that coming at all. And with Milenge, that's an introduction to my, apart from my, very obvious last name, saying that it's Bengali, and it's my Instagram handle. So most people know at least that I'm Bengali or whatever, but for the people that don't notice, when they hear a song like Milenge or Asate, and they hear, let's say, my dad talking in Bengali to me at the end, they are able to find another element of me. I could have tried to find a voice note which was English only or Hindi or something like that. But it's authenticity at the end of the day that drives, your trajectory as an artist, because, you are only as big as your discography. Yeah. So a lot of times, artists get frustrated about, why don't people really understand me as an artist?
Yeah.
But bro, you've been sitting on these 12, 15 songs for years now. When you're going to drop it and let people see your potential? Correct. You are only as big as your discography in terms of, at least success.
Absolutely.
Or whatever.
Absolutely. I fully agree with that. And, that kind of segues me into this important question that I wanted to ask, is that, do you think music labels still matter, or is this all creator driven right now? How do you think this industry is evolving?
I mean, it's definitely like, I think creator driven in terms of discovery. Creators and content is the main form of discovery nowadays. Earlier, we relied on labels for discovery as well, which we still do, because they pump in a lot of money and resources, and I'll talk about it in a second. But content creators have taken over discovery. Platforms like Spotify have taken over discovery. YouTube for years, like people use YouTube to discover music. I found a lot of crazy albums that I would say have influenced me through just YouTube algorithm.
And SoundCloud.
So
SoundCloud
yeah, SoundCloud, that's another
crazy.
one. So and with we've created different ways of discovering, like whether it be Spotify playlists or but right now creators are artists are like creating pieces of content around their music, hoping that someone would stay for the like get stuck for the video and hopefully stay for the music. They find you through the video and then stay for the music. But labels play a huge part into discovery, and hopefully I think I'm going to talk about this lightly because I'm not the most experienced when it comes to this, but like what would have taken Hanuman kind from that initial blow up of Big Dogs to the international blow up of Big Dogs is the label stepping in and throwing their resources at the song and pumping so much money in it that it's able to reach a global audience in the right way. A lot of rap pages, like a lot of rap pages, like they don't do this shit for free. They don't post music for free. Labels often have quotas or like a certain amount of investment that they put into making sure their artist's music is on like a big music discovery Instagram page. Whether it be Our Generation Music. When I saw Hanuman Kind's music on Our Generation Music, which is like one of the biggest Instagram pages for music discovery in the US or worldwide, I was like, this is it. It's I know, like shit's about to hit shit's about to hit the fan, bro. And next thing academics is listening to it. Like all these big creators in the US are listening to it, reacting to it. That's it, and a lot of money goes into that.
What about streaming platforms and their algorithms? Like, are those friends? Are those enemies? Like, what do you think about that combination of the space? If you wanted to add to that music label,
I think algorithms. I don't know exactly how they have them programmed, but the algorithms help me a lot. And that's where even with your friend Marzi, like the algorithm will help him because Wish, let's say, is backed by Sony, and Sony is pumping in money to make sure that they're big.
Yeah.
Now, because Marzi has music with Wish, and people that are listening to Wish are listening to Marzi. So the algorithm's gonna push Marzi's music also. If he decided to put out a song, like, okay, I'll break it down for me. Let's say, Karun has a much bigger fan base than I do. And so I put out songs with Karun. That song plays. The next song is either going to be probably a Karun song or a Mohit song that plays. Or maybe 3 songs down that is a Karun song or Mohit song, because it's looking at what audiences are listening to, who audiences are listening to, and it's testing what audiences like and don't like.
So much discovery opportunity.
Yeah. So
I found so many songs and just going to that bottom of the page and seeing those 7 recommendations and then finding my new favorite song.
Exactly.
And I think those algorithms are built pretty well.
Because the whole way to get fed into the algorithm and be in the algorithm is not like, maybe there's, who knows if there's some connections involved or not, but as far as I know with my case, because I know nobody at Spotify, like I know that it's like, if the song is good, people are going to interact with it. Like people are going to listen to it for 30 seconds or more, and that is already is a positive indicator to the algorithm. If they like it, that's a positive indicator. They add it to a playlist, that's a positive indicator. If they share it, positive indicator. So they know that, okay, after this song, whoever's listening to this song, if I give them this song right after, they're probably going to like it.
From the time I worked at United We Care as a data scientist, I remember like the way we were building our algorithms, and I don't know if the world has changed since, and if someone does have any thoughts on this, please educate me. But I remember that literally every single touch point had a coefficient attached to it, which means that if there's a particular segment, so say in a 1 minute 50-second song, right? If there is a particular 40 seconds you like to keep going back and listening to and keep rewinding it, it attaches a coefficient to your love for that particular type of the song. And basis that, it'll send you a recommendation. And those are all coefficient numbers, simply a 1, 0, 0.2, minus 0.2. Like, you would keep skipping through a certain part, it would remove that from the parts that you like.
Yeah.
It would then very tailor-make that algorithm for you. But I mean, this is archaic data science from 2020. So I think the world is evolved way beyond that. But I think fundamentally the concept is the same thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that's the foundational.
It's following patterns. Algorithms are completely just following patterns of engagement.
That really does bring my talk about the industry to the end. For the next segment, I do believe this is a very special one, because this is about a song you're crafting and you're going to release very soon, which is called Pyaar. We've broken for a break, and now we're back to talk about the core of this entire podcast, which is Pyaar. यार प्यार के बारे में थोड़े प्यारे क्वेश्चंस हैं मेरे पास आपके लिए, ठीक है?
अच्छा, पूछो यार.
और थोड़ा एक्साइटेड हूँ आपसे इसके बारे में समझने के लिए कि यार इसकी स्टोरी क्या थी? Where did Pyaar come from? What is the story behind the song?
Okay.
Emotionally, where did it come from?
Yeah. No, of course. हाथों में मैं थोड़ी बोलूँगा कि गिटार से आया, गला यहाँ पे गले से आया. नहीं bro. So I was in a 2-year-long relationship, which was, I would say, my only significant relationship that I've been in. I was in a live-in relationship with her at some point, and with my ex, obviously. And there was a moment I was actually prepping for my opening show. I was opening for Ritviz in Chicago. And so I wanted to, for some reason, I was just like, I kind of want to make a song that is kind of inspired and kind of like geared towards Ritviz's sound. In that moment, I just felt like doing it. And, he's iconically known for his tablas and his use of tablas in his music. But also the simplicity that he brings to his music, which is although complex, but it still feels very like, rudimentary almost. So, I played these guitars and I found a tabla sample and I'm like cutting it through and finally I come down to the lyrics, right? And while I was creating this, my partner at the time, she fell asleep on the bed. We were in our bedroom, and I was on the desk and she was like sleeping on the bed, and I saw her passed out, and I was just so in love in that moment. And the first thing that came to my mind was, तुम ही मेरे साथी, सिर्फ तुमसे किया प्यार. So I kind of sat there and I looked at her while I was watching her sleep, and I was just writing the song.
It's beautiful, man.
Yeah, so the song is very much like, she was the muse of that song, but I think the song itself is also talks about love in general, and like tum hi mere sathi, like anybody can be your sathi, it could be your parents, it could be your best friend. Sirf tumse kiya pyar, because pyar is like universal of platonic or intimate or all of that stuff. But yeah, that's the story, man.
So if this track had to be the soundtrack to a movie scene, would it be one where a guy is watching his girlfriend sleep?
I think it would be the kind of scene where it's when you're admiring someone from a distance and they don't know that you're admiring them, but you're so in awe of this person and so just in love with the idea, well, not just the idea, but the person itself. And, you're kind of just seeing them do their thing. And in this situation, she was just sleeping.
OTT, Bollywood, sab sun lo.
Absolutely. This is
scene banana hai, yahan pe gana. I can't wait for it to launch.
This is a song that would sound incredible.
Ye maine, by the way, 1 saal pehle suna hai gana.
ये और पता है ये गाना कब बना है?
हाँ।
2022 में.
क्या बात कर रहे हो यार?
हाँ
क्यों
जी.
बैठे अभी तक यार इस गाने
हाँ.
में? ऐसे गाने आते नहीं है भाई लाइफ में. मतलब these are rare fucking songs that people make, and this is the kind of thing that hits escape velocity.
But you know, something tells me that there's a reason I waited. You know, I feel like this conversation, the reason the song will come out with this podcast, like all happens for a reason.
It's my pleasure to be a part
Thank
of.
you. Thank you for believing in the song as well.
You know, if I go back to the day I heard it in my car
Yeah.
without your consent,
Yes.
and
Why would you say it like that?
and because I was apparently told that I would be
Without
killed
your
if I knew
consent.
about it. So without your consent, in hindsight, to be thinking that I'd be part of the entire launch of this song, is truly like an honor, man, in many ways, because it's a really fucking good song.
Thank you so much, bro.
And I'm so excited.
And I think that's the magic of music, is that I made that song in such a different context when I didn't even know who you were, and for you to connect with it, and
Immediately, it was an immediate connection,
and eventually realize that you wanted to be a part of it somehow.
Do you realize that's
magic.
the first song I heard of you?
Really? That's so crazy. First song you heard of me was an unreleased one. Is great.
Yeah, because and then that's why Parasha told me not to tell you.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense now.
Because and then I remember starting to talk to people about you.
Yeah.
I was telling people, I was like, dude, there's this guy. He's coming up, man. Look out for him. Look out for him. And you'd come up in conversations around music whenever it would.
And I'm so grateful, because that's, you're saying that based off of the potential you see in an unreleased song. It's not even finished yet.
And I'm sure there's many more like that I don't even know about.
Absolutely. I'm working on this album. Actually, Pyaar is in an album that I'm working on called Tu Sahi Hai Na. And,
oh my God, I've been seeing Tu Sahi Hai Na. Give me that sticker, man.
I'll give you a sticker. I got you.
I'm going to put that on my fucking phone, bro.
And
tell me something. What is one thing you want someone to feel when they hear Pyaar? Like,
I want them to. I'll tell you what it is. I want them to think of the person that they love immediately. And I do have a content idea based around this specifically, but as soon as they hear Pyaar, and when they hear Tum Hi Mere Saathi, Sirf Tumse Kiya Pyaar, I want them to think of that person, visualize that person in their head.
Bro, I'm getting married next year.
I'll perform it, man.
Please do, man.
I'll perform it.
It would be life-changing.
It would be an honor, bro.
Yeah, please. And it's happening.
Very few people I would actually offer to do that for.
Yeah, I know. And no. I mean, I'm not saying we do it just between friends, but I'm saying we do it properly. You know what I mean? And
do you want to sing it?
I can try, but I don't know if I'd be good at singing it.
Hopefully, she doesn't.
We'll try singing it after the podcast.
ठीक
कोशिश करेंगे, देखते कैसा लगता है, ठीक है? But गाना तो यार गान फाड़.
कोई नहीं भाई, ऑटो ट्यून दे दूंगा मैं. हाँ? सब सॉर्ट होगा.
No. Can you do that on a
live? That's what I do.
Oh yeah. I don't know you could do that. So why do people like Drake? I mean, even though I love Drake,
Drake does sing with auto-tune.
But
sometimes he doesn't. Yeah,
he doesn't sound great live. Like I watched him live.
Then he probably didn't have it on.
Why would he do that though? Like why would he not have it on?
Different kind of performances. Like some people do that. Some people, even though they, I think people have different ideas of what performances look like, and so maybe at the O2 he felt like having auto-tune on, and maybe in Toronto he didn't, Yeah,
like one of my favorite songs by Drake is also with Georgia Smith. It's Get It Together. If you've heard it, it's from Scorpion, and another one's Do Not Disturb. And
I feel like I have.
A lot of these songs are from the time I used to really, really like Drake, and of course going back to OG Drake, there are many more. But when I hear him live, I don't necessarily enjoy. I never enjoyed listening to him do non-stop live, for example. Even the video where you watch him, even in the music video of Non-Stop, where you watch the initial segment where he goes out and he's singing to the crowd, versus what it sounds on autotune, My own personal experience of watching Drake live was, but Drake is an OG artist. Otherwise,
See, that's the thing. Like with artists like Drake, also like a lot of them, they're not trained musicians. So so maybe your friend that's a trained singer, classically trained singer, he's gonna come out and sound incredible. I have friends like that just sound incredible, bro, live. But maybe they wouldn't be able to make an impact with the music the way Drake has.
This one time, this is like a couple of years ago, around New Year's, I'd done a performance for a bunch of my friends at For Earth's Sake with Parashar, with Perry, and apparently people liked it, but I also made a big fool of myself because I sounded like shit in many songs. And I wish I knew about this auto-tune on live before, and I would have known you before I would have done it, because I was just like, I was like drinking beers and I was singing my heart out and I was having fun.
Hell yeah.
And I remember I got a lot of messages the day after and people telling me that they had a great time. And I don't think I sounded great, to be honest.
And that goes to prove that Drake didn't need the auto-tune in that moment, because although, you felt critical of his performance, but it was more about the energy than it was about.
No, it's because I love him so much, and I love what I hear of him every day.
And you go in with an expectation. I get it. Yeah. It's especially when fans realize that their favorite singer can't really sing, and it takes a lot of help from auto-tune. It's not very. It's kind of disappointing.
Thankfully, I'm no one's favorite singer, so I just set the tone.
And thankfully, I know how to run auto-tune.
Okay, so next time करेंगे. Next time you do auto-tune, एक round तेरे साथ में
Done, bro.
Done. Fantastic. Auto-tune से life बदल जाएगी.
Life बदल जाएगी, bro. तू auto-tune लगा के तू बात करेगा अब से. तेरा podcast ही पूरा auto-tune पे होगा.
क्या बात कर रहा है?
अभी auto-tune लगा देता है. Editor auto-tune.
On. On. From this point on, auto-tune is on.
Then some point turn it off.
So the next segment, which is the final segment, before my classic Kejo style rapid fire round, which is going to be slightly different this one with you. I'm not going to go this or that with you. I'm going to make it very interesting. But before that, I wanted to ask you, in this chase and pursuit of escape velocity, that is not easy to achieve. What is one thing that's holding Indian indie music back from going truly global?
Investments. Yeah. I mean, labels have only just started kind of pouring the money into India, and they've been watching us for a while. When I was in college, a lot of the conversations I would have with people that were deeper in the industry was they all have their eyes on India. People are just obviously scared to make an investment early because they don't know if it's gonna resonate the same way the Spanish industry did, or the way the Korean industry did. But we all knew India was like the next big one. Because we already have a huge market. There's Indians everywhere, and the music's fucking great. But we just didn't know who, when, how. Hanuman Kind was one of the first to do it the way he did. Diljit did, had his moments of it, introducing it. AP helped that Canadian audience recognize India. Brown Monday, these, it's these steps, and that have allowed an artist like Hanuman Kind to thrive today. Who I would say is
he kind of strayed away from classic indie music, right? He kind of did it. He did it the style of the Western culture. He didn't stick to his roots.
So you mean like Indian music?
Yeah, like I'm talking like the kind of stuff you're making, where you're singing in Hindi.
Yeah.
There are elements of a tabla and so on and so forth. Well, I do know, of course, like small random examples of Slumdog Millionaire, one type songs.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you see the insurgence of Indian music in electronic music. Skrillex is putting Hindi, Bengali bars, and his songs. Yeah, I Had a Dream. So many artists are blowing up off of these Indian languages on electronic beats and stuff. So, I don't think language is a barrier with music, genuinely. Because when I was in the US, I was performing my Hindi music at venues, at shows that I was getting booked at. And, most people would come up to me and they'd be like, they would assume that I was singing in Spanish.
Oh shit!
And we already know that the Spanish music industry is thriving, you know, and
of course.
and similarly the Korean music industry is thriving.
You think India will have its time?
Absolutely, it's next. It's and we're talking the next 5 years.
Wow.
So labels that are coming into India now, great time, because we're desperate. Unfortunately, independent.
I hope you're listening to this.
Yeah, independent artists are desperate because we don't have resources. A lot of us have quit our day jobs and are pursuing music, and it's expensive. We don't have a lot of studios out here. We don't have a lot of, that's why most people record themselves, because there's a lack of studios. There's a lack of studio culture. And labels are only investing in, brands or people that already have made it work. Very few people are, very few labels are taking gambles on randoms. Which in the US, like $100,000 on a label deal is thrown around like it's nothing. But in India, you would have a hit song and then get offered $100,000.
So tell me something. Now, speaking of $100,000,
yeah,
if someone were to offer you $100,000 tomorrow,
yeah,
and say build,
yeah,
what would you do with it?
Immediately, I would hire. I would hire the people I trust the most. I would build a team around me, because independent music only works with a team. Someone. It's not to segue into something else for a second, but I had a conversation with Raja Kumari a couple of years back, who's a well-known Indian hip-hop artist. She is born in the US and kind of has built a career in India. And she told me, she asked me, Mohit, do you want to be a pop artist? Are you okay with not being huge, Because you can sustain both ways. But if you're trying to be a pop artist, that's a different thing completely. And I was like, I want to be a pop artist, I want to be,
That's the
out there. Yeah. Like I want to have that kind of an impact. And she was like, okay, well, you better get comfortable with 50-60% of your revenue being going to other people. 60% of your...
When the volumes of that doesn't matter.
Exactly. It doesn't matter. And so that's what it requires, is it requires a team, it requires resources. And that's what labels do, is that they have resources.
Would $100,000 be enough?
$100,000, will it be enough for
to get you off the block?
Yeah, like if you use it efficiently, yeah. Because and that's where the team comes in. I would build a team of people that are like a PR team, essentially, people managing. I would probably go and approach a well-established management in India, tell them that I have an investor, and people that I'm already in conversation with, ideally, that already believed in the vision, but they just were waiting, for a moment.
Do you see private market investors investing in individual talent?
Absolutely, but they need to understand how to recoup the money, because you don't just throw money and not expect it back, right?
Yeah.
And that's what labels do, is they throw money and they expect it back. And music law is actually really complicated. So if a contract is put in place, and a lot of times the way it works without harming it's like, how do you know a record's going to make you that much money back, right? Especially when streaming platforms are giving you $0.007 dollars per stream, so a lot of them, they're taking ownership of the music for like 10 years or like indefinitely until the recoupement's done, or just 10 years regardless of what happens, if it recoups or not. And then maybe you can buy your record back or something like that. There's these deals that come into play, and unfortunately independent artists don't have that kind of leverage to be like, hey, like I want to keep like at least 10% of my masters. So what we right now in India we're getting is buyout deals. And it's harmful in the long run, but it helps you get off the ground. And so that's what I see as a $100,000 coming into my pocket, is what can I do to make sure that this is a success? And so that is building a team. And
that's really helpful to understand the mindset of what a musician would need to do once they receive that kind of money, because it seems like this industry needs investments. This industry needs to back young, kick-ass talent like you. And it's weird that, we're chasing businesses the way we do on Shark Tank. Why aren't we investing in talent like you guys the way
Because
we do?
music is not as tangible sometimes as a product.
But
You know,
when you're making a VC bet, 1 out of 10 is going to work for you, and the rest
Right.
of them are going to
you're
tank.
completely right.
But the one that works is going to be 100x, or 2 out of 10 will work,
Mhm.
and 4 will do okay, and the rest will tank. I mean, it's the same bet, right?
Yeah, I think the sooner people realize that, art drives culture, and often, things like this drive sales overall.
And improves happiness, man.
Yeah.
Your music induces happiness in a guy like me. People like you, Rabe, people like you, like Karun. I mean, Maharani as well. Arpit Bal, I know he's not a musician, but even that one attempt. Vasu Raina, another classic example. These are all people who I know, and I can see what the work they do is making a huge impact on me as a person.
Yeah.
And it's improving happiness levels. It's like what Colorado did with pot. I'm not a pot smoker. I'm not talking about smoking pot, but when Colorado legalized pot, people are happier. There's less crime. It's just like why don't we look at it from like a macroeconomics perspective.
Absolutely.
And how we can improve overall happiness in a country by giving them better quality music and more accessible. People having more access to this kind of music.
So at the moment, the way...
All right, guys, one more round of heat.
Yeah.
For cats, that's them showing sexual inclination, but for us, this is our podcast getting fucked.
I don't know where you were going with that one for a second there.
Yeah, I don't know where I was going with it. It's just this is me being up since 5:45 in the morning, man. But you know what? This has been so much fun, and I think we were talking about investors backing young talent like you.
So what I was gonna say is like the way investors at the moment are, the way musicians and artists are getting invested in at the moment are like, obviously like the record labels. But there's something, I don't know if you are aware of, there's something called a distribution deal, which is a very ideal kind of position to be in as an independent artist. What sets an independent artist apart from a signed artist is labels, right? As soon as you're signed to a label, you're a label artist and you're not independent anymore. The way independent artists are working and putting out music without their money, without that investor, is the same way they would do it with an investor, but now they have resources, right? So they already have a team around them. They have managers. They might have a manager. They know people, like through doing this for so many years, they know different videographers and people that they've built trust with and a relationship with. So something like a distribution deal, which is essentially a deal that allows you, basically they take certain ownership of your music. They have to recoup the money through ownership of music, but
they bring you volumes.
Yeah, no, they give you straight up capital. Okay. And they'll budget your capital. Be like, okay, here, this is an advance amount. This is an amount that is for your video expenses. This is for your marketing budget, and they'll break down their amount into those different things. And they'll have certain deliverables. Like, okay, here, give me an album and 2 songs, and what that does is that for that period, it locks you into distributing only through that. So if you were to put out a song as a primary artist, you can only do it through your distribution deal. But if other people wanted you on a song, they could make you a feature, but not a primary artist.
So it kind of locks you in.
It locks you in for those deliverables.
Does it become a drawback?
Does it become a drawback? I mean, if you're trying to be on a big record, I mean, yes and no, but why are you looking at all these other ways for you to succeed when someone's given you a ton of money and given you an opportunity to succeed yourself? Friends of mine like Karun, they have distribution deals where, they have gotten a certain amount of an investment and they know what their video budgets are. They know what their marketing budgets are. He has a manager who already handles all his show bookings, and, he has a team of people that he's built over years. where he's like, this is my editor, like this is my videographer. I can work with any director I want based on the budget. So it gives you the independence to channel your funds in the right way, yet still be free of a label, because the label could ask for other things and they could have creative control into your music. They could have other clauses that stop you from leaving or stop you from owning your music ever. But oftentimes distribution deals have to do with, here's money, this is what we expect out of you, and we will own this for a certain amount of time.
That's super interesting, and I believe that's, I think, your way of giving back to the younger gen that's looking to build in music.
Yeah.
And just you helping them understand this industry a lot better. We're closing in to the end of this podcast, Mohit. There is a final round, which is called the Rapid Fire Round.
Oh, let's go.
And I feel like I'm wondering if it's a trademark name at this point. So should I call it something else? Maybe I'll learn this as I launch these.
We'll figure out a name at some point.
I'll probably figure out a new name for Rapid Fire, because I think Kejo may kill me if I become successful at this. But I'm gonna sit a little forward for this one.
Let's do it. I'll join you.
My mic is acting a little funny, but I'll sit forward like this, very straight and very cool. All right. Tell me something. An artist you secretly think is overrated.
Anyway, Bantai.
Okay.
Yeah.
A song you wish you had written.
A song I wish I had written. Any song by Frank Ocean.
Wow. Best gig ever and worst gig ever.
Best gig ever. I played an opening show. I played a show called Lyrical Lemonade's Rising Stars in Chicago. I could have been the first South Asian or Indian artist to play Lyrical Lemonade's big festival, Summer Smash. But unfortunately I lost. But that show, I should have won. And if Cole Bennett's hearing this, you know I should have won. But yeah, that was my best show ever. I love the energy.
One? Let's talk about the show.
The worst show? Man, there's been a few bad shows, I think.
Because this is reality. I don't mean to bring you down, but asking you about your show.
No, absolutely. That's fine.
Realizing that there are really bad shows.
I opened for my friend Bappa in social Vasant Kunj. Bappa is part of Foozy Gang with Arpit Bala.
Okay.
And it was his EP launch, and I was opening for him, supporting him for the event. And this has nothing to do with him, but I was performing, and in the middle of my performance, that's when Arpit and Bappa had kind of showed up to the green room, and the only thing stopping the green room, the divider between the green room and the stage was actually a glass pane. So as soon as they pulled up, all of their fans who were there for them diverted their attention there. So I was in the middle of a song, and people started pulling their phone out, but pointing that way and talking within themselves, being like, "Oh, he's here."
That's not fun.
So that's like disrespectful on like an audience point of view. In fact, can I mention another one? I opened for Adi and Dashan on Valentine's Day, and I had a drunk couple in the front be like, "Bro, we got a reservation. When is Adi and Dashan playing?" And I was like, "Oh, give a fuck, bro! Like, I'm opening, bro. You bought tickets. Wait for them."
That's terrible.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with
it. People need to value.
This is an audience thing. Like, it has nothing to do with the artist, but like it's the audience that doesn't know how to react to music. But I don't want to kill your rapid fire.
No, of course. Yeah. But no, I wanted to add to this. I know it's going a little segue out of the rapid fire, but I do see this happen often, where the opening artist always gets the least attention.
Yeah.
And I think that sucks, because I feel like they're the ones that need the most attention.
Bro, and people are way more receptive outside of India. And I say that with experience,
I've experienced that myself, man.
Exactly.
I fully believe that. The boiler room gigs, you see opening artists come in, and people are giving them so much love and so much support. And I think we need to practice that as an audience.
The Indian audience needs to up their game, man. They need to learn how to
No, I mean, fair enough. You don't like something, walk away.
Yeah, like, but it's
don't
concert
shit- don't
etiquette,
shit-
bro.
don't shit on
It's,
them.
exactly.
Don't shit on the artist.
Don't like try to be like, oh,
Yeah.
when you done, like.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Now, last one. Most DMs from fans, are they confessions? Are they feedback? Or is it just love? Or is it just a bunch of chaos? What do you get from fans?
It's definitely a mix of all of it. So definitely chaos. You know, I've had really nice. I think the most impactful messages are like the ones that are ones where they tell me that my music's affected them in a positive way, and it's helped them. I think those are my favorite ones. But there's the odd fan writing some creepy shit in your DMs. Just because they don't know you. And they feel like they can write something behind a same kind of person that would go comment some weird shit under a woman's post. So there's a good, there's a bad.
Wonderful. And for the last question, and we're wrapping this one up with a little bit of future gazing.
Let's do it.
You've got the talent. We all know it. The ones that know you, I know it, and anyone who will listen to Pyaar while it launches and when it launches. And I mean, I really hope you guys have a chance to see this before in little snippets and experience him before he releases Pyaar. But you've got the talent, you've got the hunger, and now you've got the songs. You've got a bunch of unreleased music. What's next?
My debut album. Tu
You
sahi
say
hai
it,
na?
no?
Yeah. Main sahi hu, tu sahi hai na?
You say it.
Mast, bro.
Love it, man. Mohit, this has been an absolute pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much for
man.
coming.
No, thank you for having me.
I really look forward to you hitting absolute escape velocity in the next couple of years.
Absolutely.
Best of luck. Cheers, man.
Thank you, brother.
Rolling. You rolling? Sure. Awesome. So we're doing shades for this one?
Oh, wait, we're rolling? I was not paying attention.
We do shades for this one?